Jolene with Stitchery Decor. I'm so glad you found the channel. Stick around, let's go learn something. All right, Jolene again here from Stitchery Decor, and today I'm going to teach you how to make these multi-layered mandalas on your Cricut. I've done these on 12-inch shadow boxes, which have worked out great. And the shadow boxes you can either get on Amazon. I'll put a link in. I am an affiliate, so I will receive a small payout if you purchase anything through a link. And these are all my own patterns, so you can purchase these again on the website and get an instant download to follow along. And I've got complete instructions for you guys coming up. Let's go. So here we are at the download portion of the video, and you're going to receive an email after you've made your purchase for your patterns, whichever ones you choose. And in the email, there's going to be a link, which you're going to double click on. And then it's going to pop up here and say, hey, would you like to download this file? And you're going to say, yes. Why, sure, I want that. And so I don't open it. I just click Save File. So it's already highlighted. So we're just going to click OK. And if you noticed up here, when we did that, that blue arrow lit up. These are your downloads here. You can open up your download from this blue button here, or you can come all the way down here to this file folder, the yellow file folder, where I'm circling with the mouse, and double click on that. And that's actually where I like to go. So give it a second here to open up. And it's going to say, oh, where'd it go? Here we go. So just click on your downloads. And the most recent download is going to be at the very top. And you're going to notice here that it actually has a zipper on this folder. And that's because the files came in a compressed state. And now we need to get them out of that compressed state. So how we do that on the Windows program is we just double click on the mandala itself. And up at the top, it is going to say extract. So click on extract. This other button here pops up that says extract all. We're going to double click on that. And now it's asking us to select a place to put the files. Well, we can sort them out later. Right now we just want to extract, which means they're basically going to go right back into the same place that they were, just one step underneath it. So they'll be really easy to find. So now if we click on downloads, you can see they're all right here, and here is your SVG file. Now that we've completed this step and they're unzipped, we need to go over to our Cricut Maker and get these uploaded. How we do that is we click New Project. We're going to create a new project, and know those files, we need to upload them one by one into this design space. I've already done some here, but let's just, for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to do it again. So we're going to go browse for our files. It's going to bring up our folders. We know that we just put them in downloads. And here, if you want to click on downloads, you can. But here it is where you had the zipper folder under Mandala 1, and now you have the folder underneath it that does not have the zipper on it. This is the file folder that you want. And you want the SVG files. So here they're numbered 1 through 6. There's 6 layers to this mandala, and you're going to need to bring them over to Design Space one by one. If you've got a MacBook or you're doing this on an iPad, just Google how to unzip folders, and there'll be some instructions on the internet for that. So this is layer 1. Go back in your SVG, layer 2. Browsing, back again, 3. Just do it over and over again here. There's layer 4. layer 5. All right, we're almost done here. We're going to go get layer 6. Under the SVG file, layer 6. There we go. So now we know we've just uploaded 6 images. So we can just insert these 6 images over into Design Space. So we're going to click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Insert your images. Make this full screen so we can see better. Now, once these images pop up, we're going to have to check the dimensions to make sure that they will cut on the 12-inch mat. This project was designed for 12-inch shadow boxes. It can be resized. If you're going smaller, of course, test the project to make sure that you haven't gone too small and that your cuts will still happen correctly. And if you've got a different size machine or you're making something bigger, you can always go up. That won't be a problem, but going down sometimes can be. So here's the trick now. On each one of these layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, we have to make sure that the dimensions are correct. The dimensions for width and height, which are at the top here, cannot exceed the magic measurement of 29.21. So I've tried to have these designs so that you guys can just quickly and easily get the project going. So this one is correct. If it's not correct, we'll have to change one of these measurements to 29.21. Once you change one, the other one should change just a wee little bit and adjust for the size. So again, this one is 29.008, so we're good here. You just want to double check every single layer to make sure that they are correct. And again, we're fine. And we're fine again. And layer number 6, let's have a look. All right, so now that we know all of our layers are to the correct size and they're all matching, we can click Make It. And once it comes up to make it, it's going to sort the mats again. And we're just going to say continue because the material size is a 30.5 mat. That's in centimeters. Oh, and for sure machine is not connected. But when it does connect, you're going to choose 80-pound cardstock with a little bit more pressure. All right, let's go from there. Okay, so here's our treat of the day break. This is the creamy coconut hot chocolate from the Spice Cabinet Traditions, a local Alberta company. Once again, I love their stuff, so I just keep drinking it. I'm not going to lie, this jar was full, but I drank so much of this coconut stuff that I'm almost out of it. So this girl is actually a friend of mine too, so maybe if I make enough videos, she'll send me more hot chocolate. Yummy! I get asked all the time how I select my colors for my mandala boxes. It's really not that complicated, and there's some tools that the craft stores give you to make things pretty easy. One of the things they do is they make coordinated cardstock collections. So one of my favorite collections is by Recollections. It's from the Michaels store. And when you go into Michaels, they're going to have all these grays lined up and then all the beiges lined up. So basically, I just buy a whole selection of colors within that same theme, and then I line them up on my table here. And if my mandala is 6, 7, or 8 layers, I try to go dark to light, light to dark. And lots of times I start with the dark on the bottom and then try to pull it to the light at the top. And that way, when I'm looking at my finished product, my eyes get drawn into the picture and I feel that there is more depth doing it that way. There's no wrong way to do it though. So just pick some colors that you like. Try not to mix and match, too many styles of cardstock within the same mandala if you're going for a consistent look. And another great tool I use to pick colors, it's called Color Hunt. and it's on the web. Just Google color hunt, and it'll actually pull up like palettes of colors where the colors complement each other. And then you could just take one of those palettes over to Michael's and decide, you know, okay, I like the blues, and they told me to find, you know, 4 or 5 blues, and they told me that the brown would complement with the blues, and then I add another vibrant one in, and off we go. We've got a set of colors started. So that's a great way to get started, and take it from there. When I'm lining up my paper to cut it through the Cricut machine for these large mandalas, I just keep in mind that the paper has a lot of cuts in it, and I just want to reduce any risk at all that I can for the paper sliding around, because the cuts take a long time, the paper is expensive, so I just want to do it as good as I possibly can. So I lay my Cricut mat down, I grab my paper, and I line it up along the bottom line, and just make it as straight as possible, and then slide my hands all over it. Make sure your hands are clean and dry so that you get the best amount of stick on the mat. Now, at the top of it here, there's always a cutoff, right? And the cutoff basically goes past the line at the top of the mat, and it's not even sticky there. So you don't want to feed this mat into the machine on this line, because it's not sticky there. The machine could grab it. It'll start twisting right from the start. So instead I turn mine and I start with the stickiest side feeding into the mat first. And then as the cut progresses over the paper, there's less of a chance of the paper sliding around and ruining the cut. So in this part, I just want to let you guys know the difference between cutting your mat once and cutting it twice. This is the Recollections collection paper that I get at Michael's. I cut my mandalas on the 80-pound setting with extra pressure. And this is what happens when I run it through the Cricut Maker once. So basically, it's got still a whole bunch of little tags here that we're going to have to poke out and clean up. And you know, I just feel like that's a complete waste of time, and, you know, you never get as nice of a look with doing it that way. So basically, this is the same one, and it's been run through the Cricut Maker twice. And as you can see, all of the little tags easily pulled off, and they were stuck onto the mat. So how I do it is, once I have my Cricut in the mat, I cut it the first time, and when it boots this mat out, it tells you that it wants to, you know, you press the button and will eject the entire mat. What I do is I don't press the arrow button whatsoever. I just press the cut button again without touching the mat. You don't want to move it at all, because you want the cut to exactly line up the way it was before. The mat will just feed itself back in, and it will cut a second time, and you'll get a much nicer look. A good way I remind myself to do this, to make sure that I've cut it twice without accidentally pulling it out after the first cut, because, you know, every one of us has a lot going on in our lives. We forget. I get these little Post-it notes. They're just little Post-it tags. And on the top of my C, I just put a little tag there. And this way I know that I've only cut it once. And when I go to do the second cut, I just pull it off and I stick it over to the side here. And this second one, sometimes I stack both of them up here. And this will remind me after I've done, you know, a sheet of paper that's got some really detailed cuts. I take my needle out of the machine and I poke it around on my tin foil just to get off any debris or extra glue or anything. And that really keeps everything nice and clean for these crisp cuts. Make sure you're using a new mat or a very clean mat so it's sticky and your paper's not sliding around. So here we are. We've got a sheet of the mandala paper here all ready to get taken off the mat. And it occurred to me that you maybe don't know how to take these off the mat. So basically what you do is you flip them over upside down, and now you're going to roll the mat away from the project. And I mean so gently, and just keep pushing a little tiny little piece all the way across, little tiny pieces at a time until the mat just comes loose. You can even, you know, take the whole section off from around so you have less pressure everywhere. These are really, really, really delicate. So I recommend using a new needle and a new mat for this project. If ever there was a time to get a new mat for the mandalas, that would be it. So just tiny, tiny little pieces at a time. And it will come clean. Now here we are at basically the last step. We've got our mandalas cut and now we need to line them up. And there's several layers. So what I like to do is place down the shadow box that I'm going to set them in and then put the first layer down and push it up into the corner so I have a good base to start with. I then flip over the whole stack and basically just line up, make sure that they are even each way. One side or the other may be slightly different. So just have a check here and then flip it back over. And I've grabbed this foam tape here from Michael's and some scissors. And on my Cricut here, I like to put all these tiny little pieces of tape so they're ready to go. And I just place them all over the mandala, and then I peel off the back of the little pieces of tape and I put them in a bowl, making sure I grab each one. When you get to where you're at the top layer, you definitely don't want to be dropping any of those little pieces of tape in here because you'll have to unassemble the whole thing and take it apart because once it wiggles around, the tape may show up again. So make sure you've grabbed all of them. And then at the end, you're going to have this. So it looks the same back and forth. And then I just clean up the glass on my shadow box, make sure I haven't left any dust marks. And then I assemble the shadow box and voila, there you are. You've completed your project. Congratulations. So the very last step here is to assemble the box itself. So you've got your piece of cardstock, you've got a non-slip mat, a ruler, and a rotary cutter. And you're gonna cut off the branding here on the top edge. So this just comes from the store this way. So just be careful with your blade, make a nice clean cut. And because we've got a 12-inch shadow box and we bought 12-inch paper, this is going to fit perfectly. So now grab your box, grab your insert, place it in. Your mandala, flip it over. And if you find that your mandala is slipping or sliding in the box, you can put a couple of layers of foam tape here, and here, so it'll stick to the paper. And now you're going to place your paper down. See how it just fits perfectly there? Maybe it doesn't. Haha. Let's turn it. Sometimes it's one way or the other fits just a wee bit different. There we go. And now we're going to put in the backing. And then I use this letter opener, but you can use just an old butter knife and push your tabs down. And once you flip this over, everything will be done. There you go, guys. Perfect.